All right, so I thought we wouldn't be able to meet maybe, so I'll just go ahead and show you these things on a video. But this first problem, remember in class, we did the definition of I equals the square root of -1, and then they ask you later in this problem to square that. So I squared would equal the square root of -1 squared. So remember, when you have a square over a square root, they kind of cancel each other out. So you get that I squared is equal to -1 pops out of there. So that's an important fact that you kind of use later on in math, and then I is just square root of -1. All right, on the next one, asked you to do this problem. So this person did not work it out correctly, and this is what they should have done. They have a negative and then square root of -9. So this part is 3i, and then they have a negative coming down. So that's the true answer for that. So the negatives don't cancel each other out. Remember, when the negative comes out, it becomes an I, and then the square root of 9 is 3. All right, this one here. So square root of -20. So I'm just going to go over that because it took a couple tries, it looks like. So remember, 20, we got to break that down. We got 4 times 5, and then 2 and 2. So the square root of 20 is 2 radical 5. But remember, it was a -20, so there has to be an I there. And there you go. All right, this one here. So it's asking you for the discriminant. So the discriminant looks like you got that correct. It was b squared, so 25 minus 4 times a is 1 and c is 10. So basically 25 minus 40, so it is -15. So remember, the discriminant is in the quadratic formula. It's underneath the radical. And you got plus or minus. The b value is -5, so put a positive 5 here because it's supposed to be the opposite of that. Over 2 times 1 at the front is 2. So what this is going to be, it's going to turn into 5 plus or minus I radical 15 over 2 for my answers. So I do get 2 answers because of plus or minus, but they're both imaginary. So how many real solutions? There are no real solutions in this problem. There's just 2 imaginary solutions. All right, this guy right here. So again, you got the discriminant correct. So you get b squared. So this thing squared is 256, I think. Let me check. Yeah. Minus 4 times a is 4 and c is 16. So when you subtract that, you do get 0. So again, imagine that's inside the quadratic formula. B is -16, so I'll put 16 plus or minus square root of 0 all over 2 times 4, because that's a, is 8. So this would be my answers. So nobody would do the square root of 0, that's just 0. Therefore, I don't really need this plus or minus either. So the only answer that I get is 16 over 8, which is 2. So I only get one answer, 2. All right. Also, you could go and take yourself a graph of this. When you graph this, it would look like this. It would touch and it would leave right away again. So if you graph that, there's only one x-intercept, so there's only one real solution. And we're talking more about this in class next time too. All right, this one here. All right, you're going to fix this up a little bit first. You're going to multiply this out. So I'm going to have 5x minus 15. 2x squared minus 6x. So I'm going to take away 5x. So I have 2x squared minus 11x equals -15 still. So I'm going to pop that 15 over. So I got 2x squared minus 11x plus 15. All right, so my a is 2, b is -11, and c is 15. So I got 11 plus or minus the square root of b squared, so that would be 121 minus 4. A is 2 and c is 15. All right, all over 2 times a, so 2 times 2 is 4. These are my answers, x equals. All right, so that 121 minus 4 times 2 times 15, just go ahead and put that in Desmos or in a calculator. So 121 minus, let's see, it comes out to 1. So I'm going to write up top here. So I get, let's see, 11 plus or minus 1 all over 4. Since they made me find the discriminant, I might as well do it this way. It turns out, since these answers are so nice, that I can go ahead and, I could have gone ahead and factor that, but anyway. All right, so my 2 answers, one of them is 11 plus 1 over 4. The other one is 11 minus 1 over 4. So 11 plus 1 is 12, and 12 over 4 is 3. This will be 10 over 4, and 10 over 4 reduces to 5 over 2. Those would be my two answers. I forget if they asked you for it or not. All right, this one here, this is number 9. So solve. So A, B, C. A is 1, B is -2, and C is 17. So I can't, 17, nothing multiplies to 17 besides 17 and 1, and that doesn't make 2, so I'm stuck with my quadratic formula. So I put a 2 plus or minus the square root of b squared, so 4 minus 4 times a is 1, and c is 17, all over 2 times 1, which is a, is 2. All right, so 2 plus or minus, and then make sure, you put this in Desmos or in a calculator, not the square root, but just the stuff inside. So 4 minus 4 times 1 times 17. All right, so you get -64, square root of -64. Okay! Over 2. So 2 plus or minus, the square root of 64 is 8, so it'll be 8i over 2. All right, and so we keep going there. 2 over 2, so I basically have all these three things, divide by 2. And so 2 divided by 2 is 1, plus or minus 8 divided by 2 is 4i, and then the bottom 2 divided by 2 is 1, so I'm just going to leave it like this. All right, last one. I'm being called to dinner. All right, so let's see, a is 5. Let's see, b is -15. So I get 15, so it looks like you got a negative wrong right there. Plus or minus the square root of b squared, so 225, minus 4 times a is 5, and c is -1. Hang on a second. I'll be there in a second. So Dad will be there in a minute. All right, and the bottom is 2 times a, so 2 times 5 is 10. So let's see, 225 minus 4 times 5 times -1, 245. So, oh darn, it looks like the only thing you had wrong was that sign right there. So x equals 15 plus or minus the square root of 245 all over 10. All right, 245, let's see. 245, I know it divides by 5 because there's a 5 on the end. So it would be divided by 5, it's 49. And 49 is 7 and 7. So this is going to be 7 radical 5. All right, so I got x equals 15 plus or minus 7 radical 5 all over 10. And you can just leave it like that. I know 15 and 10 do reduce, so if you wanted to, you could write this as 15 over 10 plus or minus 7 radical 5 over 10. And then you could go and reduce the 15 and the 10 to a 3 and a 2 if you really want to go that far, but it's perfectly fine to leave it like this. And that is it.